hard to please. Perhaps I have such special needs. I wondered what was wrong with me.
Hey guys, it's B-Jack and I'm back with episode 3, finally, of Couch Corner Chats. And today's topic or title is called Tools Can't Talk. Hey guys, it's B-Jack and I'm back with episode 3 of Couch Corner Chats. And today's title is Tools Can't Talk. Tune in. So first I'm going to start by saying that I finally got a ring light from Amazon, and that is what is blessing this video and my skin right now, and I just love it. I kind of was waiting to do a new video because I felt like, like I needed better lighting. Like I feel like I wanted my content to look bam, and now I feel like, okay, skin, glowing, glistening, nothing on, just natural. There's some shea butter on there, so I feel like it's like popping off, like the light is kind of bouncing off of that, but it's okay. So it'll wear off as the video goes on. But yes, so like I said, today's title is Tools Can't Talk, and this was influenced by a conversation that I was having on the phone. I was on the phone with Metro in court the other day, and this topic came up. So I had to like readjust the way I was sitting because I slipped and fell down the steps yesterday pretty hard. And I have like this huge lump like on my it's like on the back of my thigh, so I have to sit like really comfortably or else it's over. But so basically the other day we were on the phone. I was on the phone with Metro in court, and he basically was talking to me about social media. I don't remember how we got on the topic of that. Like our conversations just like jump all over the place. But he basically asked if I thought, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, so don't kill me, Metro, if you watch this and you're like, that's not what I said, because I know how you are. So basically, we got on the topic of whether social media, whether we wanted it or not, or like whether or not we thought that it benefited in any way, or if we would rather kind of have never received it, like if we kind of felt like life was better without it, or if we appreciated it now. So of course, me, who's the queen of playing like devil's advocate and trying to look at everything from every possible angle, I'm like, there's pros and cons to everything, and of course I see the pros and the cons to social media. But what I was explaining to him was every con that I see associated with social media is not social media's fault. It's the people who utilize social media's fault. So we got on the topic of talking about tools as in anything that we use for a certain purpose, and I was talking about how I feel like humans always want a scapegoat. Like we always want something or someone to blame, and when there's not someone to blame, we blame something. Like when we talk about guns, we never really, like we've gotten into the habit of blaming guns for killing people instead of blaming the people that are actually using and misusing these guns for killing people. The same with drugs. None of these things that were created necessarily for ruin. Like they weren't created necessarily for destruction. There's positives in each thing, and I feel like guns weren't meant to be made for mass shootings necessarily. Granted, some are, like AKs, machine guns, etc., but just guns in general. Like if we just used them or held on to them until we needed them for protection, then what would really be the issue with guns? Do you get what I'm saying? Same with drugs. The same with drugs. A lot of drugs were made for specific reasons. Painkillers were made to alleviate pain, after surgery, after any type of traumatic incident that your body has gone through. Painkillers were made for that. They're not made for people to overdose on. Like that's not the purpose of them. But when people do those things and misuse these tools, we like to blame the tool. Like we're saying drugs are killing our youth, guns are killing people, and then social media, we like to blame social media for a lot of things. Like social media has caused us to this, caused us to that. Social media has ruined social connections and face-to-face connections. How did a tool, how did an app, how do websites do all of that on their own? they can't, they don't, and they don't have the power to do that unless we give them that power, or unless humans begin to do that themselves. Social media is not the one. It's not the thing that's killing face-to-face connections. We are. Social media is not the thing that's making you feel insecure, making you feel less than when you're looking at people's pages. You are. We are literally doing things and perpetuating cycles and then blaming it on the tool. And so, like, I had a eureka moment on that phone conversation, and I was just like, yo, my next Couch Corner Chat episode is going to be Tools Can't Talk. And I was like, it's kind of a double entendre. Like, first it's we've all heard the quote about, hold on, I'm about to misquote, and I do not want to do that. So, hold please. So the quote is, so it's an old proverb. So basically, until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. So that's basically kind of, first of all, saying, there's two sides to every story. So these tools can't defend themselves. They can't say, hey, no, it's not my fault. This person misused me, or this person abused me, So we're sitting here blaming them, or like using them as scapegoats, but they can't plead their case. And then on the opposite end, and the other meaning is tools can't talk, aka tools aren't people, aka we should not be personifying them and giving them this much weight. Like, we're literally blaming them for the demise of multiple people and various things. We're just literally blaming them. But by doing that, we're giving them aspects that only humans possess. And I feel like that's an easy way out. And I feel like it's kind of just in our nature to always want to flip the blame, or to, illuminate, take the light off of ourselves and put it somewhere else. It's deflection. I just kind of feel like it's time to take responsibility for what we're doing and how we're misusing these tools, because they're meant to be tools, to be utilized by us, not to run us, not to own us, not to manipulate us, not to do any of these things that we're supposedly claiming that they do. And, so in that phone conversation, I asked him, what his view of social media was, because, I said there's pros and cons to it for sure. It's great for marketing. It's great for, getting in touch with people who you normally wouldn't be able to get in contact with. I have Insta friends and people that I talk to who are in other states that I normally would have no way of communicating with. It's like pen pals. It's like the millennial pen pal thing, that we used to do in elementary school, and the class would find a friend in another state or another country, reach out to them. Now we can do that literally at our fingertips. So I felt like in that aspect, it's super great. I have a book, I have a business, and I'm able to promote it and reach customers and a target audience of people that I normally wouldn't be able to just walk out my door and see automatically. So that's another pro. And I feel like anybody who runs a business or sells a product or a service on social media can also agree with that. But every single con that I could think of was not social media's fault. It was people's fault. The trolling is Instagram typing these comments, is Facebook sending hateful messages, or are there people who have these accounts doing that? Comparison. I feel like I've touched base on this before. If not in a Couch Corner Chat, then definitely in a piece that I've written and in multiple like Instagram captions that I've created. I find myself a lot of times, comparing myself to people on social media, or feeling like I should be at this point in my journey, blah, 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 based off of somebody else's journey who I know nothing about besides what they show me. And that's not social media's fault. Social media isn't making me feel inadequate. It's not making me feel less than or inferior or insecure. I'm doing that to myself. And I just kind of feel like we need to start taking accountability for what we're doing and what we're allowing ourselves to feel and what we're doing to our psyche and our mental, but blaming on other things. So I wrote something the other day and I posted it, and it said, It's not their fault you're intimidated by them, nor is it their problem. It is your job, and your job alone, in caps, to figure out why certain people trigger your insecurities. So if you're going to Benita's page, and every time you scroll through Benita's Instagram, you feel a sense of inadequacy, or you feel some type of sorrow after scrolling through her page, is that Benita's fault? Is that Instagram's fault? Is that anybody's fault but your own? And when I say your fault, I'm not saying like you're choosing to be this person, that you're choosing to want to feel these feelings and you're choosing to want to feel a sense of insecurity and inadequacy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is Benita can't help you figure out why you feel that way when you go to her page. You need to dig deep within yourself and figure that out. Instagram doesn't have a counseling team that's going to help you every time you go to somebody's page and you feel inferior to that person after leaving their page. That's not their job to do that either. That's your job and your job alone, to figure out why certain feelings come out and why certain people or certain things or certain events or certain photos trigger those feelings for you. And social media is a great tool. That's what it is. It begins and ends at being a tool. Anything else that we turn it into or anything else that we believe it to be is something that we've allowed it to be for ourselves or created it to be. It's not social media's fault. And I kind of just feel like we've gotten very comfortable. When I say we, I mean just humans, just people. We've gotten very comfortable with not addressing issues head on and just blaming it on something else and then making a post about it and then causing other people to say, yeah, I agree with that. And then now we have this huge mass of people who are blaming something for feelings that they're feeling or actions that they've taken that they chose to, that nobody forced them to do. And it just creates a cycle of people not taking accountability. And so we got a little further into the accountability aspect in that phone conversation. And, I was saying that just because you acknowledge that you did something, it's not necessarily taking accountability for it. And Metro was like, what do you mean if I'm admitting that I did something, that's taking accountability? And I'm like, no, not necessarily. And the first example that came to my mind was the Dallas police officer who killed the man in his home. I don't know how to pronounce his entire name, so I'm just going to call him Botham because that was his first name, I believe, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But so she's admitted to the fact that she shot him, yes. So she says, I did this, but this is why. And the this is why is not taking accountability for it. It's more so making an excuse. It's a scapegoat. I thought he was in my house. I thought this was my house and I was opening the door. I was scared of him. He scared me, so I did this. Not, wow, I made a mistake. I walked into his home, shot him for no reason at all. Now he's dead, and that's on me. That's not what she's doing. So she's not taking accountability. She's more so saying, she's deflecting it. She's saying, yes, I did this, but before you, try to blame me for this, or before you try to, get me to admit that I was wrong necessarily. No, here's why I did it, which makes me right. And that's not accountability. If you did something wrong or you did something to hurt someone and you know it, and you're just saying, yeah, I did it, but X, Y, and Z, or before you want to blah, 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 yada, 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 and you have this long list of reasons that makes it acceptable as to why you did something that was wrong or that hurt somebody else, you're not ready to take accountability. You're just ready to pretend like you're taking accountability. You want it to seem like, yeah, I'm admitting it, so you're ready to say, yeah, I did it, and I'm taking responsibility for it, and you feel like that makes you, like that rids you of any blame or any guilt after that, and that's just not the case. Accountability is wholeheartedly saying, this is what I did, and these are the consequences of my actions, and whether those consequences are good or bad, you take responsibility and you own up to them, If you did something and it hurt somebody's feelings or you made somebody cry or whatever, you own up to it and you say, this caused this and that's what it is. But you don't say, I did this, I know I did this, but I'm right for doing this when you did something wrong, and then try to say, oh, I'm holding myself accountable for my actions, I'm such a great person because blah, blah, blah. That's not accountability at all. At all. And I think we've gotten into the habit of allowing people to say that they're taking accountability when they're really doing that, which is deflecting. And that's another cycle that we kind of just have to end. And that contributes to why we're blaming tools for the destruction that we're creating, because we don't know how to take accountability anymore. And nobody's forcing us to. So, gotta reposition myself. Okay, y'all, that fall yesterday. Anyway, so, so that kind of wraps up my episode 3 of Couch Corner Chats. I'm not gonna hold you guys for too long. I appreciate your patience with the gap between episode 2 and this one, but I definitely vow to be more consistent and more disciplined, and that's definitely something that I own up to and take accountability, that's the word of the day, for. So yeah, I'm going to keep these coming a little more regularly. And yes, so like, comment, subscribe if you like what you see. And definitely always, give me your feedback, leave comments, hit me if you have my number personally. You can DM me on Instagram at BEEJACKS_back, so BJack's back. And yeah, as always, check out my new website. Oh, I haven't even told you guys that I got a new website, because when I did episode 2, I didn't have it. So I definitely have a new website that I created. It's my own domain name. Tongue twister. Not really. So I have my own domain name now. So it's www.bljack.com. So that's BEELJACK.com. So you can purchase my book. You can look at some of my writing. You can learn about BJack's Corner and the mission of it, and basically, what I'm trying to do and what I hope to do with this business, which is just kind of make transparency and vulnerability a societal norm again, or make it a cool thing for people to do. I just feel like a lot of the issues that we have would kind of be alleviated or eliminated if we opened up and were more in tune with our emotions and accepted, our shortcomings and the things that made us scared or insecure or feel inadequate, all those types of things. If we just embrace our vulnerability. And so definitely check it out. Check out my site. You can purchase my book there, Harmonious Chaos, if you'd like. And there's also a link to the chats on those sites. So if you go to the contact page, there's a link to my Instagram, my Twitter, which I don't use. I just post things and screenshot it and post it on Instagram. Guilty. And my YouTube. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this and chat with me a little bit. And I can't wait to hear your feedback and hear what you like to say. If you agree or disagree with me, if you had any type of revelation or epiphany, if this made you think about anybody as you're watching this, all that, I want to hear it. I love feedback. I love dialogue, back and forth conversation. So yes, absolutely. This was episode 3 of Couch Corner Chats. I'm BJack. Thank you very much. I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful week or 2 weeks or whatever it is between the time that I do this one and the next. Like, comment, subscribe.
Good Lord, we back one more again. This for the people.